right, my darling. So you will need a bolster, most definitely, for tonight's practice. If you don't have a bolster, grab a cushion or two, kind of the maybe the pillows off your bed, that kind of thing. You might want a blanket, but you'll definitely need a some kind of support. Okay. And if I haven't obviously said hi to you directly, you know that I've seen you. Thank you so much for coming to class. I'm going to pin my video. So now don't worry, Matt, no one's going to be able to see you because it's just recording my screen. I'm going to pop you onto mute as well, so there's no noise in the background. And today's practice is all about taking support or finding support. So that's where we're going to begin. What I'd like you to do is come into Shavasana, interestingly enough. I'm going to brighten my light situation because it is, oh, well, it's not too bad, is it? Now that I've lightened my screen up a little bit. But what I would suggest, so this is a supported Shavasana I'd like you to take. So perhaps you take a yoga block or a blanket or a small cushion, and that becomes your pillow. And then your bolster is going to go underneath your legs. So you've got your legs supported, just like we would do for yoga nidra or something along those lines. So I'd like you to come into a supported shavasana and get comfy. So if you're feeling chilly, please make sure that you've got appropriate clothes and layers and things like that, or maybe cover yourself with a blanket. You're not going to be here for a long time. It's not a full Shavasana experience, but it's just a few minutes to settle and to become still. Okay. Yeah, so get the bolster nestled under the knees. Yeah, that's it. Snuggle in, cover up. Lovely. We don't often start our practices like this, so when we do, it feels like a real treat, doesn't it? To be like, oh, yeah, actually, this is lovely. Because every now and then I do particularly feel compelled, or feel not the compelled, no, that's not the correct word. I feel drawn towards a more restorative style of practice. So restorative yoga is completely different from yin yoga. In restorative yoga, you don't feel anything happening in your body apart from complete relaxation and lots of rest. In yin yoga, we work on target areas and we try to challenge the connective tissues and the different joints of the body. So we're in Shavasana, and we're in a supported Shavasana. So we've got the bolster underneath the knees and maybe a pillow underneath the head so that we can feel completely supported and very restful. And we're taking this style of practice tonight because I don't know about you, but I've had a very topsy-turvy kind of a week. You know about Tuesday, and then we had that crazy rain yesterday, like monsoon style. I was out driving in it on the A2. That was hairy, scary. And it's just been one of those kind of funny old weeks, you know. So when when it's like that, want to treat our practice as though it is going to nourish and support and heal us. And so sometimes a more restorative style of practice can be really, really useful. So we've come into, because there's just a couple of people that have come in now, so 2 or 3 of you have come in a little bit later, and that's fine. We're in Shavasana. We're in a supported Shavasana, so we've got the bolster underneath the knees, we've got a pillow underneath the head, and we're just offering ourselves a little chance to rest, but to be held in this rested position. So what I would suggest is that you make sure you're nice and warm, that you've got plenty of layers on. You might even cover yourself over with a blanket, and you could put your hands onto your belly if you like. And we're just pausing here. And we're offering ourselves a little sustenance and support. Because sometimes life throws a few curved balls at us. And we can let it upset us, upset the apple cart, so to speak. Or we can use it positively as an excuse, as a justification for coming into this style of practice. And there's nothing to do here apart from to settle. I could invite you to take some pranayama, but for now, let's just think about breathing into the belly, feeling the tummy rise as you breathe in, and feeling the tummy sink back towards the spine as you breathe out. This is a practice of taking support. And even if you feel like you don't really need that support tonight, still enjoy this practice in the spirit that it is offered. Because every now and then we just need a little bit of TLC. It doesn't always have to be about the doing. Notice how your back body has spread itself out and how your back body has sunk deeply into the support of the mat and the ground beneath. Like I said, not a full shavasana, not a complete relaxation, but just an opportunity to be still without having any of the requirements of our usual yin poses. It's just about being here and enjoying the peacefulness that comes with stillness. Okay, so last couple of breaths. And from here, we're not going to change position too much. The only thing I'd like you to take care of is whatever cushion or support that's underneath your head. If it's very high, you might want to take it out. If it's thin, you might feel comfortable with it still staying there, because your next pose is supported bridge. So you're going to lift your hips up and roll your bolster underneath the back of your pelvis. And then find a sweet spot that allows you to settle. It might not come straight away, you might not find the sweet spot immediately, you might have to have those wriggles and those fidgets around. But for now, just see if you can settle the back of the hips into this support. I'll give some different add-ons in a moment. But what I would like you to settle your attention on is how, when you let your hips sink into the support of this bolster, can you tune in to the release, the relaxation, or the spreading feeling of the fascia in and around the pelvis and the hips? So tune in to that region of your body. And perhaps with each exhale, let it sink a little bit more deeply. Let's stay out of the doing aspect. Let's even stay out of the desire to target certain areas of the body. But instead, let this practice be a rebalancing, a bringing back, a returning to something that feels a little bit more put together, a little bit less scattered. I'm going to stay here for another minute. The suggestion now is entirely optional, but you could add on a different position for the arms. So you could either open the arms out wider to the sides, or you could take the arms alongside the ears. You can do that on its own, or you can leave the shoulders out, and you could, as an alternative, you could slide the feet away and have the legs long. Now, this becomes much more yin like, it's less restorative, it's much more yin because we're now active in the fascia. We're looking to stretch and lengthen, but in a very soft and gentle way. So, if you feel like this is going to detract from this lovely, peaceful, gentle, restful style of practice that I've offered so far, then please leave it out and just come back to your supported bridge position. Whatever you opt for, whatever you choose to do, make sure that it sits right with you and that you can still feel your body held and supported, especially by the bolster. Just let your hips sink deeply into the bolster. Okay, so you're going to take 1 or 2 more breaths. And then I'd suggest that you place the feet on the floor, lift the hips, and slide the bolster away. And then you can just put your feet on the bolster for a moment, or you can bring your knees in towards your chest. Okay. Gently roll yourself over to one side. And then you're coming into a seated position. And we're going to take the bolster lengthways. We're coming into a twist, twisting tiger. So the bolster's coming in towards this side of the hip. You're going to lengthen the spine. And as you lengthen the spine, you're turning your body towards the bolster and then laying yourself down over it. Maybe the head turns in the opposite direction to the knees. Or maybe if that feels too much, you keep the head facing the same direction as the knees. You don't have to use the bolster. You can have nothing underneath you. So if it's uncomfortable or you'd like to swap the bolster for some other sort of support, that's okay. You're also very welcome to stay upright and simply take a twist in a seated position if that feels better for you. So we've gone from the hips and being supported to now it's the full length of the torso, hopefully feeling that same support. And as we rest here, tune in to a sense of connection on a physical level within your own body. Twists have a wonderful way of highlighting this because you can feel the spin through the fascia of your body from the hips, along the spine, into the sides of the waist, all the way up into the shoulders and beyond. We never move one part of our body in isolation. There's always a chain of events. And this highlights the interconnectivity of everything, of every movement that we take. And this interconnectivity that you're experiencing in this twist reminds us of what's seen and what's unseen. From the outside, this looks very mild and gentle. And on the inside, you might be experiencing a very different reaction. The intensity might be far greater on the inside than what it appears on the outside. But on the outside, we take support. We don't have to do this alone. Your practice tonight is being supported by the humble bolster. But use this as a metaphor for life. Sometimes the internal experience can be very, very intense. But there's always support to be found. Take one or two more breaths. And then offer a little bit of support as you come out in the form of your hands on the floor under shoulders and propping you as you come back up. And we'll come straight onto the second side. So it's simply a case of spinning yourself around so that the other hip nestles against the bolster. We We lift up and lengthen through the spine before gently placing it down in a rotation as you turn your head. It sometimes takes a while to surrender fully, so give yourself that time. Okay, so taking your last couple of breaths here. Picking yourself up gently, returning to an upright position. You can take a completely neutral pose if you like, or you can come into a supported child's pose. So you could open the knees a little bit, you could bring the bolster slightly between the knees and then let yourself fold over the bolster. Now, if this isn't comfortable or you feel that you've had your knees bent for rather a long time, then you can lay onto your back, have the bolster onto your tummy, which can sometimes feel quite nice, And then it's quite nice to kind of wrap the arms and the legs around the bolster. So this is your alternative if your knees are feeling the pressure. Or you just come into a lying position if you like. So yeah, cross the ankles over. If you're that's it. If you're hugging your bolster on your tummy and you've got your legs around it, then hook the ankles. That might keep it in place, keep your legs in place. And then you can give your bolster a hug. This is an excellent time to take some lovely yogic breaths. And by that, I mean increasing the length of your exhale. Taking full inhalations, but really enjoying the release of the exhale. Okay, so last few breaths. All right, coming upright. And then stretching out the legs. Maybe giving the knees a little bit of a rub if they need a little bit of love. Okay. So our next supportive pose is a forward fold. If you like, you could put the bolster underneath the backs of the legs. Now this takes out any kind of intensity from the back of the thighs usually. It allows you to round the spine forwards, but I want you to feel like the front of your body is being supported. Okay? If that doesn't quite happen for you, then you could still use maybe your blanket, roll that up and put that underneath your knees. Or your blanket could go into the hip creases and be a little bit of support that way. Or, final version, is that instead of the bolster being under the knees, the bolster could be on the lap. And then you've got that lovely support there, and maybe you rest your head in your hands. You could even prop the bolster up and just rest forwards onto it like this. So there's loads of ways to play with this. But please kind of take your pick, work with the one that feels right for you. I would say that with the bolster resting onto the thighs, you get much more of a hamstring stretch. Now, sometimes that feels really welcome. Sometimes it can feel just a bit too strong. You know, if we're trying to stay in a more gentle, restorative practice, then I don't know. I mean, everybody's body is different, and I don't know what your preference is necessarily, but I don't know, just find the version that allows you to completely soften into the shape. We're just looking for shapes tonight, aren't we? Not necessarily looking for intense target area focuses. But instead it's making sure that wherever you've put the bolster, it allows you to feel held. And in that feeling of being held, we then feel safe. And when we feel safe, we can relax and we can come out of that kind of high cortisol, adrenaline kind of moments that we have continually through the day. And we drop into the parasympathetic nervous system. We want to keep coming into that state of being as often as possible, so that we antidote all of the hormone, all of the stress related hormones that flood our bloodstream. And instead we want to minimize that, come away from it, let rest and digest take over. So this is why these practices are just so important. Okay, so take one more breath here. Again, use your hands to support you as you exit the shape. And maybe you keep the bolster underneath the thighs as you come to take a lie down again. Okay, so feel your spine releasing. Feel your back body spreading. Okay, so we're not quite fully at Shavasana yet. One more pose to do. One more pose, but two choices, two options. Both using the support of the bolster, but also both can be done without the bolster, so you can get rid of it completely if you want to. It's also quite nice to cover yourself with a blanket for these ones too, so that you don't feel too cold, too cool. So first option is a supported saddle. So that's kneeling, bolster pushed right up into the back of your body, and then you laying down and taking a nice big stretch for the front of the thighs. I know that we said we were doing very restorative poses, but I still quite like this one. It's there for me. I really enjoy it. If you don't like this one, then your option is supported butterfly. So the same bolster can be underneath you, but instead of having your legs tucked, you've got your legs open into butterfly, and you're very welcome to stay here. You could just have a supported little back bend with the bolster underneath you and keep the knees bent. You could lie with the legs out straight, so you've still got a supported back bend, but without the legs and the hips being involved. So there's lots of ways to vary this. Please choose the one that works for you. This is your final pose before we come to a short shavasana at the end. And like I said, you can do all of these without the bolster. So if you want to do reclining butterfly without it, or saddle without it, please be my guest. Okay, so let's take last few breaths. And now you can release and come into your final Shavasana. Make it a supportive one. Take your time, just ease out because you've all been back bending, so it just takes a little time for the spine to come back. Blankets if you like, cushion under the head if you wish. Okay. So as you settle into stillness once more, feel all the goodness that this practice has gifted. Not just your physical experience, but also your mental, even your emotional landscape. Notice how that feels right now. And then drop your attention into the beat of your physical heart. Perhaps you can feel it beating. Perhaps you can hear it. Or maybe there's just a sort of distant felt sense and awareness. Feel its beat reminding you of the preciousness of this life. Feel within the natural constellation of energy, of cells, the blood, all of it nourishing, feeding and healing you. And then picture the stars in the night sky. Picture the sun and the moon. The outer phosphorescence of life. The wonders of this world. All working in harmony to sustain your life. Have a sense of your freedom. That you are able to think, to speak, to create or express. Feel the love moving in and out of you. A quiet inward gratitude for your life. And you allow any visualization to fade and bring yourself back from wherever you may have drifted off to. Become aware once again of the physical body lying on your mat, hopefully in a state of restfulness. Now, I don't want you to disturb yourself too much. I want you to stay in this lovely yin place, this yin state of being. So gently enliven your body enough so that you can roll to one side. Just take your time. And then you can slowly, with kindness, make your way up to a seat. Okay, let's stay as yin-like as we possibly can, but we will finish together. So sitting, just gently rolling the shoulders back and making sure that you have that lovely balanced feel, the head and the shoulders balanced at the top of the spine, that effortlessness. Remember, not that I want you to engage your brain too much, but we talked about this on Tuesday. We will finish by taking an inhalation And raising the arms gently up, letting the palms softly find each other before they float down to rest in front of your heart. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to practice together this evening. Namaste. And have a really peaceful, restful night's sleep.